Hey guys, Daniel from Better Than Nine here, and you are here for a one-hit review. But what you're gonna see is you notice there's something missing. The hit. The reason being is like from the last video that I was more talking about the hemp ban, but I didn't want to get age restricted. I talked to the Gemini AI about what causes age restrictions is and showing the actual product. They kept dinging me saying that I was promoting illegal or dangerous behavior by promoting using hemp products, which currently is still not illegal. So I was like, okay, then this is dangerous behavior. But I mean, statistically, eating fast food or drinking soft drinks or driving a car is more, or bobsledding or luging or skateboarding or riding a bicycle is statistically more dangerous than using hemp products. So welcome to the double standards, right? Again, they say it's to protect kids, but these are the very same companies who create these highly addictive algorithms that are responsible for killing hundreds of kids, maybe thousands in the past year or two, I guess. I don't know. Between drug overdoses and suicides, not hemp drug overdoses, fentanyl. So these are the same companies that are banning our content and age restricting it to protect kids while they welcome to 1984, right? There's a squirrel, but I thought it was a monkey. I was like, there's a monkey. No, it's not a monkey in the yard. It's a squirrel. So that brings us to the one-hit review of Cap Junky. This is a bulwark. I don't know what the word is. I kind of call it our house strain because we know the farmer and it comes from a clone. It's very consistent, so it's always in stock, and that's a good thing because it's always awesome. It is a cross between alien cookies and Kush mints. It's also known as miracle mints. I forgot. It's been so long that I had actually written the first review in genetics of the Cap Junky. You can go look on the website and see it's probably from like 2 years ago or so by now. Maybe, I don't know, but it's been a long time. Alien cookies, and it goes back to the Alien Vortex and the Mac 1. Apparently, I love alien technology. That pure indica is works really well with me. So the new format of this is, I tell you what strain is happening right now, and then we talk about like the different like batches and genetics, and then I can kind of tell you how I feel. But again, I can't use certain words because that triggers age restricted. And of course I can't say them. It almost tricked me when I was about to say, I can't say this because then I can't do it. So yeah, Cap Junky, pretty balanced, hybrid, maybe a little more sativa, maybe. The effects to me tend to be a little more sativa-ish. It could be a product of just the potency. The reason I don't do a review of it every time we get a new batch, sometimes I don't even update there's a new batch, because it's grown by the same person in the same environment, using the same inputs, using clones. So it's generally always the same for all intents and purposes. And I also take for granted how fantastic it is because it's always there. I mean, I have clients who that's the only thing they get still. Like, I'll be like, hey, try this, try that, and they might, and then they're like, nah, should have got the Cap Junky. So, I mean, it's just the best in show, a best in class. If you go read the history of it, it was a collaboration between Capulator and Seed Junky, which are two of the best breeders in like the modern industry. You know, back in the day you had DJ Short who made the blueberry, all those guys out in that place over there. where the people talk funny. Amsterdam and Holland, like in Dutch. They were all the old in the 90s. It was all in Dutch because it was legal over there. So, anyways, yeah, Capulator and Seed Junky. If you read the written reviews that I do, this like Seed Junky always does some really really good stuff. The Pineapple Fruze is a Seed Junky. We had that. The Ossifer, I think, might be a Seed Junky or a Capulator. Either way, so the Cap Junky, you can see that it's hybrid. You know, like I have energy and I'm having a fun time doing this, but I forget words. So indica sativa, and it's pinball-y. You kind of zip back and forth. This batch is better than the last batch. The last batch, if y'all noticed, was maybe a little bit felt dry. I found out what it was. A light controller went out like about a week before harvest, so the lights were on 24 hours straight the last week of the cycle, so it effectively, like, even though it was alive and growing, it basically was a week immature, even though the timing was the same, but the light kept it from finishing the flower all the way, so it was like 7 days short of a finished thing, and that's why it was a little different. This batch, back on point, dynamite. And again, if you got the last batch, you may not have even noticed. The only reason I notice stuff like this is because I'm crazy and it's my job to. I look at stuff under a loop. So you know what I'm saying? And it's like, again, it's kind of my job to like analyze it and then report back to y'all. We have it always. We've had it for years. It's awesome. If you ever don't know what to get, Cap Junky. There's a cardinal now. It's bright red. There's like a reality TV show in the backyard of the birds and the squirrels, and they have their own little lives. So we no updates on the hemp ban. Every time I think about it, I get pretty mad though, because think about the position that they're putting us in. It just kind of like, sometimes it might take me a minute to process stuff before I can articulate it in a coherent, non-expletive laden tirade. So first of all, they made this legal and let us all build businesses on it for getting close to 10 years. Now they're threatening to take it away. And think about the metaphorical corner that they're painting us into. Us as in hemp industry, people like me. The first thing is the one right in your face is money. Like, this is my job. Like, this is how I buy food and overpriced health insurance and overpriced food and overpriced airplane tickets and overpriced gasoline. So this is how I can afford to buy all the overpriced, hyperinflated stuff in our country. So they're going to be like, hey, F you, no more no more money for you. Figure out a new way to make it. Okay, but that's me being kind of selfish, I suppose. So but it creates a financial or an economic squeeze where you're like, what am I going to do? I'm getting angry. Then there's a whole nother thing maybe you haven't thought of that I do. There's a moral consequence to us stopping what we do. I'm not going to break any HIPAA rules because I am not a credit card company selling data to a health insurance company to raise your rates if you got caught buying a cigarette. So I'm not going to HIPAA anybody. But I have clients, I'm not going to call them patients because I'm not a doctor. I have clients who have epilepsy, cancer, Parkinson's, MS, ALS, MS, lupus. I said cancer, but there's so many, you can say it twice. I said epilepsy, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, autism, ADHD, insomnia, PTSD, clinical depression, treatment-resistant depression. Did we say IBS? I don't think so. Psoriasis and eczema, sickle cell, AIDS or HIV, whichever version you want to call it, Alzheimer's and dementia. I think that's all I can think of right now. But my point is that I have people who use the products that we make and sell to, for recreational use, like not having a seizure because it's fun to not have seizures, or they're going through chemo and they're throwing up all the time and can't eat and they're wasting away to get hungry and to stop throwing up. Again, is that recreational? Like, I guess if you're going to be a true a-hole about it, like, it is fun to not be throwing up and dying and to eat something. So, I mean, maybe I'm just this party guy that thinks that, like, living pain-free and, like, without anxiety is fun. So besides making us make a choice between giving up our livelihoods or not, it's also making a choice of, like, how do I tell you, yeah, I know this helps you, but what am I supposed to do? Like, I have access to it. I'm gonna have access to it. And if I can help you, I'm gonna. You know what I mean? If we want to talk about religion, I mean, isn't that what Jesus would have done? Like, I believe when the Romans were like, hey, you can't do that, he's like, yeah, it's kind of the right thing to do. Or when he told the bankers, you can't take interest, and they're like, hey, and they killed him. They killed him for saying interest was bad. But we're not allowed to say that. That's supposedly offensive to mention. And the other thing that the lawmakers, again, I still think there's going to be some kind of compromise between an outright ban and where we are now. I know it's going to suck more than it does now. But yeah, I think they also have forgotten who is a lot of the people that work in the hemp industry, where we were doing this before they gave us their little permission slips back in 2018. So for them to take away the hall pass, I think a lot of people are going to be like, okay, cool, we don't have to pay tax anymore. F you. So they're dealing, again, we're not the Girl Scout cookie industry. We're pirates and outlaws and renegades and mavericks. But again, as long as it's in the name of protecting children, which I'm not going to let this Epstein thing go, because it's not beneficial to let it go for any of us as normal people. But you know what I think is fun about I'm a lemonade out of lemons kind of guy. So I will tell you, there has been one good thing that has come out of the Epstein cover-up, and whatever you want to call it, Epstein Gate. Besides this probably being one of the biggest, longest, worst cover-ups in American history, it gives us kind of the moral high ground. Us as in, like, if you're doing something that is either frowned upon or technically against the law, nobody in power has any moral authority to be like, we're going to put you in jail because you're bad and you've done something wrong. You're like, I'm the bad one? Really? And this is what the other thing that I love about the Epstein thing is, this is not a Trump issue, because there's like, you either worship Trump like the God man that he is, or you hate him like the devil man that he is. But Epstein is bigger than Trump. I mean, it goes back to at least Clinton. What's that, 35 years ago or something? So you basically have, if the baby boomer generation was a book, chapter 1 would be Bill Clinton. The last chapter maybe would be Donald Trump. And then the theme throughout the book is an Israeli spy raping children with every person in power across the world to hold the United States taxpayer hostage from at least 1990 to at least 2026. So to me, that's the only good thing about this is it's very hard for them to say what I'm doing is bad. Because I'm be like, really? We're the bad guys? I love Cap Junky. It's the only reason that I'm laughing about, like, just how infuriating the whole thing is. Like, if I wasn't laughing right now, I definitely would have already busted all the age-restricted filters by going off on on a Red Fox inspired beep rant. It would have been beep, beep, beep. I would have sounded like I was talking in Morse code. There would have been so many beeps. Oh, anyhow, I think that's enough. I hope everyone's doing well. We're doing good, watching the laws, or at least watching the updates every Friday on what the lobby people are saying. Starting to introduce non-hemp products. I'm waiting for a powder mixer to get here because we're going to start doing capsules that will be legal if the worst happens to hemp. So we're going to, we were around before the farm bill, so we'll figure out a way to be here afterwards. Thank you for watching, and thank you guys for being part of this whole fun adventure that we're on. And if you live in a place with good weather, go out and enjoy the warm weather before it gets cold next week. See ya!